Your community focus. We right here at 4 have been hearing from some of the Democratic candidates for governor, and today we're talking with the chair of the Rhode Island GOP to talk about potential candidates from their party, Cienki.
She joins us now live via Zoom. Sue, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's start with what Brian just mentioned, the governor's race. Already a growing field of Democrats, no declared Republicans. So who is really seriously considering a run from the GOP?
So I will tell you before the end of October, we will have an announced candidate. I know that David Darlington, who worked in the Lincoln-Amman administration, has expressed interest that he would also like to run, but we do have another very formidable electable candidate that we'll be announcing before the end of October.
Considering the number of Democrats who have already declared their interest and their candidacy, what does it say about the strength, the organization of Republicans in Rhode Island that you don't have a candidate declared yet?
No, I think that people have to realize it's still a little bit early. When Don Kachiri had run, he did not even announce until December of the year. I think people kind of expect somebody to jump in immediately right now because the Democrats have. But we're watching, and we have people that are in the background organizing their campaign. If it's any indication of how all of them on the Democratic side have rolled out their campaign announcement, I think that they've been an utter disaster. We don't want to do that with a candidate that we are recruiting. So they are getting their ducks in a row, and there will be an announcement. And I think people will be quite pleased.
Sue, I want to try and get a little bit more information out of you about who this candidate might be. Is it someone who's run for governor before, someone we might be familiar with otherwise? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it will be someone you will be familiar with that will have some name recognition, and I think people will be quite pleased. I mean, if you look on the Democratic side, you have far left, far left, far left, and the current governor who is moving far left. So is this exactly what Rhode Islanders want? We're a moderate blue dog state, so we really want somebody that's going to fight for the people and not go too far to the left. So I think that people will be very pleased with the candidates that come out of the Republican side, and it will give them a good opportunity to vote for somebody that they can believe in, that they get excited about, very Kennedy-esque. I think that they'll be very happy.
And again, before we move on, has this person run for governor before? Would they be a first-time candidate?
No, has not run for governor before.
Okay. Would you welcome former President Trump coming to Rhode Island to campaign for the Republican nominee next year?
I think he's busy in other areas. He did not win this state. He did better in 2020 than he did in 2016, but I think he's will be quite busy.
Fair enough.
I don't anticipate he'll be coming here.
Okay, fair enough. On the topic of vaccines, which we've been talking about extensively today, according to a recent Associated Press poll, Democrats approve of President Biden's plans to mandate vaccines for most workers. Most Republicans are against it. Do you think the issue of vaccines has become a partisan one?
No, and I hope that it doesn't. I hope it doesn't continue along those lines. I think that what we should say to Rhode Islanders is good job, because we do have a very high vaccination rate in Rhode Island, and I think people should be very proud of that. There's also the healthcare workers that we have to worry about, that some of them have already had it, so there's some type of natural immunity. And if the Rhode Island Department of Health could say, listen, this is the reasons why we are not going to grant people with natural immunity, because this is a virus that has X, Y, and Z. If they got up and they explained that your natural immunity is not as good as the vaccine, I think people would buy into it more. I go back to history in 1969 that we started compulsory vaccines for children in school. And the same type of thing happened where people went outraged. They were outraged, mandatory. There was a lot of misinformation, same as what's happening now. So what they did was they compromised and they said, okay, we're going to allow for medical exemptions. It's a very small portion of people. And we're also going to allow for conscientious objections. So religious exemptions. Once the government allowed that to happen, the vaccination rate shot through the roof because people felt that they weren't forced to get the vaccine. So I would hope that the governor and the Rhode Island Department of Health took a softer tone and really did encourage people. But I'm very encouraged by the the high vaccination rate in Rhode Island. We're one of the highest. We see that even in the film industry, that one of the reasons that they're filming in Rhode Island, because they say we have about the highest vaccination rate in the country, so they like to come film here. So I really think that we should pat Rhode Islanders on the back and say, good job, you're taking this seriously, and let's move on. And also the good news with the vaccine, Kim and Brian, is that the CDC is saying that they have a 20% reduction in cases across the country. The death rate is falling. We have treatment now for people that do get sick with COVID, very different than what happened last year. So I'd just like to say, good job, Rhode Islanders.
Rhode Island GOP Chairwoman Sue Cienki, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
And looking ahead to tomorrow, when Barrington Town Manager Jim Cunha joins us to talk about what's being done with the former Belton Court and Monastery properties.
We will also hear from him on what the town plans to do with its share of American Rescue Plan funds. That's tomorrow in your Community Focus.